Now, we talk about the scale of the Australian bushfires every day. Over 20 people have been killed, hundreds of millions of animals too, more than 8 million hectares have been burnt, and there's an economic cost too. And part of that is the impact on tourism. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, turned to that today.
Australia is open. Australia is still a wonderful place to come and bring your family and enjoy your holidays.
He made these comments on a visit to Kangaroo Island, just off the south coast. It's a haven for wildlife and a popular tourist attraction too. And from this image, you get an idea of how extensive the devastation has been. The fires have struck twice on the island and a third of the island has been burnt. That inevitably means animals, including koalas, have been killed or badly injured. And the island is home to several endangered species, including the echidna and also the glossy back cockatoo. Now it's feared many of these have been killed or injured, and even those animals which have survived may have lost their habitat. Now, the fires on this particular island were started with lightning strikes, and they're part of a much broader problem all over Australia. As we know, the brunt of these fires has been borne by New South Wales and Victoria in the southeast, and unfortunately more hot, dry weather is forecast. Now, one tactic that's being used to control the burning is this. This is a firefighter in Victoria deliberately lighting small fires in scrub that's believed to be high risk. The idea is that you reduce available fuel for when the main fires come through. Here's Katie Watson with one farmer.
In the hills of Victoria, farmer Chris is holding his breath. Fires have already scorched much of his land, and there's real danger that existing bushfires further north could merge and create one big mega blaze.
As the crow flies, it's probably about 70 or 80 k's. It sounds like a long way in the forest, but 2 hours and it can be upon us.
Chris says there's a simple solution. More bushland needs to be burnt in a controlled manner to stop fires getting out of hand.
It's the lack of fuel reduction burns which is causing these intense mega fires. You take away the fuel, the issue of these mega fires is gone away.
But all of that said, the authorities are clear that fuel reduction alone doesn't fix the problem. Remember, this is what Victoria's fire chief said this week.
The reality is we've had fire down the landscape here that has had burns go right through it, and it hasn't slowed it up at all. And so the emotive argument is not supported that fuel reduction burning on a large scale will fix all our problems.
And here's the Commissioner of the New South Wales Rural Fire Service.
We are not environmental bastards. We actually work through a sensible environmental regime. Our priorities are life, property and then environment ranks third. So we have streamlined processes, and I can say in any given year of all the burns that we've got ready to go, 70 or 80% are cleared environmentally ready to go. We're just waiting for the window of opportunity.
Now, we've been putting clips of our Australia coverage on the BBC News YouTube channel, on Twitter too, and we keep getting messages from people claiming the story of these fires isn't climate change, it's arson. Here's an example of someone taking up the issue, saying it's not dozens of firebugs, it's hundreds. Climate activists are lighting fires in a desperate bid to amp up climate change fear, and we know that the hashtag arson emergency is being widely used. So let's assess this. One researcher analysed over 300 accounts using this hashtag. He found a third of them displayed highly automated and inauthentic behaviour, meaning they could be bots or trolls. And he concluded the conspiracy theories going around, including arson as the main cause of the fires, reflect an increased distrust in expertise and scepticism in the media. He says these are all major factors in disinformation. It appears that Australia has, for better or worse, entered that battlefield. Now, some of these tweets share articles like this. It's on a website called Summit News. It claims that almost 200 arsonists have been arrested. Go into the article, the figure is actually 183. But that includes minor offences like breaching a total fire ban. So that could be something like using machinery on a hot day, not deliberately lighting a fire. Police in New South Wales say the number of people actually charged with deliberately lighting a fire is not 183, but 24, and even less of them managed to start large fires. And on this subject, you could listen to the authorities in Victoria saying there's currently no intelligence to indicate that the fires in East Gippsland and the northeast, that's the worst fires in the state, have been caused by arson or any other suspicious behaviour. And it's also worth emphasising that the main issue here is hotter, drier weather. Meteorologists have long been warning the long-term trend of rising temperatures in Australia across the last century would impact bushfires, and it could be a good idea to read this from 2008, an independent report commissioned by the Australian government that proved to be remarkably accurate. It told us fire seasons will start earlier, end slightly later, and generally be more intense. This effect increases over time, but should be directly observable by 2020. And so it's proved, and it's that rather than arson which is driving this crisis.